Persistence, when practiced faithfully, produces more than outward success. It produces mastery over self. And this mastery, once attained, becomes the most valuable possession an individual can acquire. Most men attempt to control circumstances before they have learned to control their own minds. They seek authority over environment, position, or resources while remaining subject to fear, impulse, and emotional fluctuation. Such control is temporary at best. True power begins within. The individual who has learned to persist beyond comfort has already taken the first step toward self-mastery. He has proven that his conduct is governed by intention rather than impulse. He no longer reacts automatically to disappointment, delay, or uncertainty. Instead, he responds deliberately. This distinction is critical. Reaction belongs to the undisciplined mind. Response belongs to the disciplined one. The man who reacts is ruled by circumstance. The man who responds governs circumstance. Self-mastery is not achieved through suppression of emotion, but through understanding of it. The persistent individual does not deny fear, doubt, or fatigue. He recognizes them as temporary conditions, not authoritative voices. He refuses to allow passing sensations to dictate permanent decisions. This ability separates the drifter from the directed man. The drifter allows his course to be shaped by mood, opinion, and external pressure. The directed man shapes his course through deliberate choice. He may encounter the same obstacles, yet he interprets them differently. Where one sees reason to withdraw, the other sees reason to endure. Self-mastery also brings independence of thought. The individual who has cultivated it no longer depends upon approval for validation. He listens to counsel, but he does not surrender judgment. He weighs opinion without becoming subject to it. This independence shields him from discouragement and protects him from distraction. It must be emphasized that such mastery is not granted suddenly. It is earned gradually through repeated acts of disciplined persistence. Each time the individual chooses intention over impulse, he strengthens this internal authority. Each time he remains steady under pressure, he reinforces it. Over time, this authority becomes habitual. The individual ceases to struggle with himself. He no longer debates whether to continue when difficulty arises. His course has already been decided. Effort flows naturally from decision. This condition produces calm, not indifference, but composure. The individual is no longer easily disturbed by delay or opposition. He understands that these are elements of the process, not evidence of failure. His confidence rests not in circumstances, but in character. Such calm has a profound effect upon outcome. It attracts cooperation. It invites opportunity. It commands respect, often without demand. Others sense the steadiness of purpose and respond accordingly. When success arrives under these conditions, it is not accompanied by confusion or excess. It is met with clarity. The individual understands both its origin and its responsibility. He recognizes that the same discipline which produced success must be maintained to preserve it. Thus, self-mastery becomes both the cause and the guardian of achievement. The man who has mastered himself does not fear adversity, for he knows that adversity cannot govern him without consent. He does not fear delay, for he understands its purpose. He does not fear failure, for he knows that temporary defeat cannot destroy a definite purpose. This is the ultimate reward of persistence, not merely the attainment of goals, but the formation of character capable of sustaining them. And once this mastery is established, success is no longer an event to be pursued. It becomes a condition that follows naturally from the individual's manner of thinking, deciding, and acting. The opposite of persistence is not failure, it is drifting, and drifting is the most common condition of mankind. Men drift not because they intend to live without direction, but because they have never assumed command of their own minds long enough to define a definite purpose and remain loyal to it. A drifting individual is not idle. He may work continuously. He may exert great effort, yet his labor lacks coordination, for it is not guided by a central aim. He reacts to circumstance rather than directing it. His conduct is shaped by moods, opinions, and external pressures instead of intention. Drifting dissipates energy. Purpose concentrates it. When an individual defines his purpose clearly and commits himself to it with finality, a transformation begins to take place. His thoughts acquire direction. His actions gain coherence. He no longer expends energy upon pursuits that do not advance his aim. He becomes selective not by chance, but by discipline. Most men believe they lack opportunity, when in reality they lack clarity. Opportunity responds to definiteness. It avoids confusion. It aligns itself with those who know what they want and are prepared to persist until they obtain it. The world does not reward wishful thinking. It responds to decision. A definite purpose does not eliminate adversity. It does not remove delay, opposition, or uncertainty. What it removes is confusion. It supplies a reference point against which all decisions may be measured. When difficulty arises, the individual does not ask whether the struggle is worthwhile. He asks only how to continue. The drifter has no such reference. When resistance appears, he interprets it as rejection. When progress slows, he assumes failure. He lacks the means to distinguish between temporary obstruction and permanent defeat, for he has never clearly determined where he intends to go. Definite purpose supplies that destination. It must be emphasized that purpose alone is insufficient without persistence. A clearly defined aim, unsupported by sustained action, remains a wish. Yet persistence without purpose is equally ineffective. It produces movement without advancement. Achievement requires the union of both. The individual who unites persistence with definite purpose ceases to wander mentally. His thinking becomes disciplined. He no longer entertains ideas that contradict his aim. He refuses to dwell upon suggestions of defeat, not through denial, but through conscious direction of thought. This discipline produces focus. Focus produces momentum. Momentum carries the individual through periods that would otherwise discourage him. He ceases to depend upon enthusiasm for motivation. His effort flows naturally from decision. Definite purpose also alters the individual's relationship with time. He no longer demands immediate compensation for effort. He understands that delay is inherent in all worthwhile pursuits. He measures progress not by speed, but by alignment with his aim. Doubt will appear as it appears in all endeavors of consequence, yet doubt finds no permanent residence in a mind governed by purpose. The individual may experience uncertainty, but he does not submit to it. His purpose remains fixed, and doubt passes without altering his course. This condition marks the end of drifting. The end of drifting does not arrive dramatically. It arrives quietly at the moment the individual resolves to remain faithful to a single aim regardless of temporary circumstance. From that moment forward, his life acquires structure. His actions gain meaning. His failures become instruction rather than condemnation. Those who succeed are rarely those who began with superior advantage. They are those who eliminated indecision. They chose an aim, they committed to it, and they persisted through the interval of uncertainty that deters the majority. A definite purpose does not guarantee a smooth path. It guarantees direction, and direction, once established, renders circumstance secondary. The individual may be delayed, but he cannot be diverted. He may be tested, but he is not confused. Drifting ends when decision becomes final, and when drifting ends, life ceases to be governed by chance. Success is no longer an accident. It becomes the natural outcome of intention applied through persistent action over time. When a man knows what he wants, decides to obtain it, and refuses to surrender that decision, his course is set. External forces may challenge him, but they cannot command him. He moves with intention rather than impulse. This condition is not reserved for the extraordinary. It is available to any individual willing to assume responsibility for his own direction. Definite purpose ends drifting. Persistence sustains purpose. And together they form the foundation upon which all enduring achievement rests.